It's Friday, June the 12th, 2026. You're listening to the DX Today AI Daily Brief. Today, SpaceX begins trading in the largest initial public offering in history. Anthropic reverses course on its newest model after a transparency backlash. And Jeff Bezos raises $12 billion to build an artificial general engineer. Let's get into it.
SpaceX shares begin trading on the Nasdaq today under the ticker SPCX, capping the largest initial public offering in recorded history. The company priced its offering after market close yesterday at $135 per share, raising roughly $75 billion at a valuation near $1.77 trillion. Goldman Sachs is leading a syndicate of 21 banks, and about 30% of the float is reserved for retail investors through Robinhood, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab, a retail allocation roughly triple the industry norm. The listing matters for the AI world because SpaceX absorbed the AI lab xAI in an all-stock deal this past February, folding Elon Musk's Grok models into the combined company. Musk himself is not selling a single share and retains full voting control.
From rockets to enterprise software.
OpenAI announced Thursday that enterprise customers can now access its frontier models and its Codex coding agent through their existing Oracle Universal credits. The move lets Oracle Cloud Infrastructure customers route AI workloads to OpenAI technology without opening a separate procurement channel, a meaningful shift for companies holding multi-year, pre-negotiated cloud contracts that can run into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Availability is expected to go live in the coming weeks. The arrangement deepens a relationship that has grown steadily since the Stargate infrastructure project launched in January of 2026, with Oracle building data centers across Texas, New Mexico, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Analysts note that procurement friction, not model quality, is often the real barrier to enterprise AI adoption, and this partnership removes a large piece of it.
Now, a $12 billion bet.
Prometheus, the industrial AI startup co-founded by Jeff Bezos, announced Thursday it has raised $12 billion in a Series B round that values the company at $41 billion. The startup says it is building what it calls an artificial general engineer, an AI system aimed at automating heavy engineering work and drug design in the physical world. Backers in the round include JPMorgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and Bezos himself. The raise lands in a year when investors have poured record sums into so-called physical AI, systems that move beyond chatbots and into factories, laboratories, and products. Crunchbase reported that the first quarter of 2026 saw roughly $300 billion invested globally in venture capital, with about 80% flowing to AI-related companies.
Next, a course correction at Anthropic.
Anthropic reversed a controversial safeguard in its newest flagship model on Thursday after intense criticism from researchers and developers. The company had quietly designed Claude Fable 5 to limit responses on work related to frontier model development, a measure aimed at preventing rivals from using Claude to build competing systems. Critics called the silent downgrade hostile, and the backlash was swift. Anthropic now says flagged requests will visibly fall back to its Claude Opus 4.8 model instead, and developers using the interface will see a stated reason every time it happens. A company spokesperson said, quote, "We made the wrong trade-off, and we apologize for not getting the balance right." Anthropic says the safeguard was designed to affect only about 1 in 2,000 tasks.
Anthropic also gained a major ally.
Tata Consultancy Services announced a global premier partnership with Anthropic on Thursday, becoming one of the largest systems integrators to standardize on the Claude family of models. The Indian information technology giant is creating a dedicated business unit focused on deploying Claude for enterprise customers, with early access to new models and jointly developed industry solutions. TCS will also equip 50,000 of its own associates across engineering, finance, legal, marketing, and sales with Claude through enterprise-wide licensing. The two companies plan to target highly regulated sectors, including financial services, public services, life sciences, healthcare, aviation, and telecom, where most AI initiatives stall at the pilot stage. The partnership pairs Anthropic's models with TCS governance and implementation expertise to push deployments into full production.
Onto the factory floor.
Barcelona-based robotics startup Theker announced Thursday it has raised 73 million euros, about $85 million, in a Series A round led by CRV. Unlike humanoid robots built around a fixed form, Theker's machines are deliberately generalist, designed to be reconfigured for mixed products, irregular shapes, and changing conditions on factory floors without manual reprogramming. The round drew notable strategic backers, with Samsung and the luxury group LVMH, each making their first ever investment in a Spanish startup. The raise extends a remarkable stretch for European robotics and physical AI companies, which have pulled in some of the continent's largest venture rounds this year as manufacturers look for flexible automation that can adapt as quickly as their product lines change.
Funding news from India next.
Equal AI has raised $30 million in a Series B round, led by Process Ventures and Tamales Bay Capital, TechCrunch reported Thursday. The startup builds an AI assistant that screens phone calls so users in India do not have to answer them, tackling a market where unwanted commercial calls and phone-based scams remain a daily nuisance for hundreds of millions of people. The assistant answers on a user's behalf, determines who is calling and why, and summarizes the conversation, letting the recipient decide whether the call deserves attention. The raise reflects growing investor appetite for consumer AI products built specifically for India's scale and conditions, rather than products imported from Western markets, and it gives Equal AI capital to expand its reach across the country's enormous smartphone user base.
Dinner plans are changing too.
DoorDash introduced an AI chatbot on Thursday called Ask DoorDash, giving customers a conversational way to order food and groceries. The assistant accepts text prompts, voice input, recipe links, and even photographs of cookbook pages, then builds a shopping cart with the ingredients it identifies. It can also handle restaurant discovery and reservations, moving the company beyond menu browsing toward a single assistant that plans the meal and fills the basket. The feature is available now on Apple devices in select areas, with a broader rollout promised in the coming weeks. The launch puts DoorDash squarely in step with a wider industry shift, as delivery and commerce platforms race to replace keyword search with conversational agents that convert browsing sessions into completed orders at far higher rates.
Meta is courting creators.
Meta previewed a significant expansion of its video editing app Edits at an invite-only creator event in Los Angeles on Thursday. The headline edition is an AI assistant that analyzes a creator's Instagram performance data, including views and video retention, then suggests content ideas based on what is working and flags trending audio worth using. The assistant is currently in testing with event attendees. Meta also confirmed a desktop version of the previously mobile-only app is coming soon, giving creators more precise editing control on a bigger screen. Other updates arriving now include a beta tab for experimental tools and expanded audience insights, with detailed demographic breakdowns and data on when each audience is most engaged. The push sharpens Meta's challenge to ByteDance's popular CapCut editor.
Video AI, built for India.
Indian startup Avataar AI launched a video generation model on Thursday called Varya, built specifically to understand the cultural context of India. The company says the model recognizes local festivals, regional food, and traditional clothing, details that Western-trained video models routinely get wrong or render generically. Varya was released as an open-weight model on India's AI Kosh portal, the government-backed repository meant to seed domestic AI development. The launch positions Avataar as a cheaper, faster alternative for Indian advertisers, filmmakers, and creators who need culturally accurate video at scale. It also adds momentum to a broader sovereign AI movement, in which countries are funding models trained on local languages and imagery rather than relying entirely on systems built in the United States or China.
Apple is defending fake pixels.
Apple's camera engineering chief John McCormick is pushing back against critics of the generative AI features coming to the Photos app in iOS 27. In a rare interview with Wired published Thursday, McCormick acknowledged the new tools will add what he called fake pixels to some shots, using the iPhone's neural engine to predict and render missing visual information. But he argued the company is prioritizing utility over novelty, saying AI can give iPhone users superpowers rather than gimmicks. Apple is betting on restraint as its differentiation, with visual indicators showing exactly what has been modified by AI and firm limits on how much an image can be changed. That contrasts with Samsung and Google, whose phones already move objects, swap backgrounds, and merge moments that never happen.
And finally, London is rising.
London is emerging as the most important AI talent hub outside the United States, according to a CNBC report published Thursday. A slew of American AI companies, including Anthropic and OpenAI, have announced major London expansions over the past year, drawn by the city's deep pool of researchers, its universities, and its position between American capital and European markets. The report says the growing cluster is reshaping the city's startup economy, with American labs competing against homegrown companies for engineers and pushing compensation sharply higher. For the United Kingdom, the expansion is a welcome economic win, at a moment when governments across Europe are spending heavily to attract AI infrastructure and jobs. For the labs, London offers world-class talent one time zone away from the continent's biggest customers.
That's your briefing for Friday, June 12th, 2026. For DX Today, stay curious.